tonight. This webinar is specifically targeted for personal trainers and people in the fitness industry. And I think that AdvoCare is an excellent business opportunity for personal trainers. It's actually the perfect marriage of careers. Personal trainers generally come in contact with people who are very interested in health and wellness, and AdvoCare provides those kinds of solutions. So fortunately, and it's probably because of their intelligence level, personal trainers have a lot of questions about AdvoCare products that a lot of people tend to not be able to answer. So that's what I'm here for, is to try and sort of explain why I think AdvoCare is such a good opportunity for personal trainers. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Dr. Todd Miller. I'm an associate professor of exercise science at George Washington University. I am the developer and the director of the master's degree program in strength and conditioning at GW. I've been a certified strength and conditioning specialist since 1997. I'm a level 1 weightlifting coach through USAW. I'm also on the board of directors for the National Strength and Conditioning Association. I've been a strength coach at Texas A&M for about 5-6 years. And I'm currently on the Sports Advisory Council for AdvoCare. So I've spent a very long time in the fitness industry, and I work very closely with personal trainers and people who are interested in fitness as a career. So particularly as part of my program, I have a lot of students. The vast majority of my students who come through the program are interested in pursuing a career in fitness. So I'm very close to this. I've been a consultant for the fitness industry since about 2005. So I'm very familiar with the challenges that personal trainers face and other people in the fitness arena. So we're going to talk a little bit about personal training as a career. And I don't want to bore you with statistics here, but I just want to sort of lay some background as to, again, why I think AdvoCare is such a perfect opportunity for trainers. This pie chart shows the population of personal trainers, and it's divided based on how long they've been personal trainers. So on the right in the key, you can see the years of training. The blue part of the pie, 46% of all working trainers today have been trainers for less than 1 year. 30%, the orange piece of the pie, have all been trainers for 2 to 5 years. So what that means is that 76% of all working trainers today have been trainers for less than 5 years. Now, that should tell you that personal trainers as a population are generally pretty young. Now, some of that is probably because of an increasing interest in personal training as a career, but we are going to focus on the fact that a lot of people tend to get out of personal training at a relatively young age. It has a high turnover rate, and they don't really do it for very long. So what this means is that only 24% of working trainers have been doing it for more than 5 years. And what we want to try and get at is why is that? Why don't people stay as personal trainers? Clearly they get into the field because they enjoy it, they like helping people, they like working with people, but they essentially don't stay in it. And I think these reasons are largely financial, and they're largely quality of life issues. So if we ask ourselves, why don't people remain personal trainers for more than 5 years, there's a few things that we have to look at. First of all, when you're a new trainer, you just get out of school, you become a personal trainer, you have relatively low financial responsibility. You may have some student loans, but for the most part, you're probably single, you probably don't have kids, you probably don't have a whole lot of expenses, and it's feasible to live on a relatively low salary, which is what most trainers have out of the gate. Now, trainers also trade hours for dollars. And what we mean by that is that simply, if you're not training somebody, you're not getting paid. So we trade hours for dollars, but we have to keep in mind that there are so many hours in the day that we can train people. I don't know, what you guys what your workload is like, but if you're training 6 or 8 people a day, that's a very long day. And it's the kind of situation where you have to sort of accept the fact that if you're not training, you're not getting paid. This makes it difficult to go on vacations, makes it difficult to take time off, because that's taking money directly out of your pocket. So when our financial need increases, we're basically forced to take on more clients. We're forced to increase our workload in order to meet our increasing financial need. And again, there's simply not that many hours in a day. And because of this, we tend to hit our salary cap very early in our careers. And, we have lots of personal trainers on our team right now who say, they just cannot work anymore. They simply cannot fit any more sessions into their day. And that leads to a tremendous amount of burnout, and that can happen very, very quickly. So what we find is that increasing financial responsibilities as we grow older, and just to the point of getting married, having kids, you want to buy a house, all these things essentially force you to seek a higher paying job. You simply cannot live on personal trainer salaries alone. So this is unfortunate because, again, you get into the field because you love it. And I think people should be able to do what they love, and they shouldn't be forced out of it for financial reasons. So these are the personal trainer salaries. These are national averages. So these are current. This is from salary.com. And you can see that the median salary for a personal trainer, and this is national, so obviously this varies depending on where you live, but the median salary is right around $53,000. That means half of the people surveyed are below that $53,000 and half of the people are above that $53,000. Now, depending on where you live, $53,000 can be very good. If you live in Washington, D.C., like I do, you certainly can't support a family on $53,000. So if we look at the 90th percentile on the far right of the graph, that's only $76,000, which again, in Washington, D.C., you can't support a family for $76,000 either. So look at that scale and think to yourself, what is the most I'm ever going to make as a trainer? Where am I actually going to max out at? Where am I going to cap out at? And a lot of personal trainers feel that, well, I want to own my own business. I want to own my own gym. And what they don't realize is when you do that, now instead of having a job, now you own your job. And when people call off, when people can't show up, you essentially have to take that load. And now you've only made your job even harder. Okay, so let's talk about what makes you a successful trainer. And we'll talk about why I have that in quotes. But trainers basically want retention and referrals. They want to have an established, loyal client base that they can rely on, and that happens largely through word of mouth. So let's say we're training somebody. We're going to do just a brief little bit of exercise psychology here, and because this affects what trainers have to deal with. So let's say we're taking somebody through a workout. We give them a very high exercise intensity. Very high exercise intensity leads to very good fitness results, and that's good. That makes people want to stay with you as a trainer when the results are good. However, high exercise intensity workouts lead to low enjoyment of the workout. And when people don't like their workouts, that leads to a high dropout rate. So we have competing demands here. We want to give somebody good fitness results so that they'll stay with us, but a lot of times the programs that we give them, they're too hard for them. They say, it was too hard, I don't want to do it. I didn't like it, so they drop out. Now on the other side of the coin, we have low exercise intensity, and low exercise intensity leads to high enjoyment. People like exercise when it's low intensity, and that makes them want to stay. However, low intensity brings about negative fitness results, and if you get bad results, you get a high dropout rate. And this is the person who says, I really liked my trainer, I liked going to my sessions, it was fun, but it wasn't working, it wasn't doing anything, and they drop out. So that's not good for your business. You get bad referrals, and you don't have high retention. Now, we all know that it's hard enough to keep clients to begin with, so we want to make sure that they get good results. Now, where AdvoCare comes in, this is why AdvoCare is so perfect for trainers, if we combine low exercise intensity or moderate exercise intensity programs that people like, and we couple those things with AdvoCare products, this is essentially what happens. We get high enjoyment because the exercise isn't too hard, but we also get very positive fitness results because the AdvoCare products work. If you have no idea what AdvoCare is, we're going to talk about it here in a little while, but AdvoCare products absolutely work, and when you couple them with relatively moderate exercise, you get fantastic results that you would never get just by exercise alone. So this leads to a very low dropout rate. So we have good results and we have high enjoyment, and this leads to high retention. So imagine if you could get a client who loses a bunch of weight with a relatively easy exercise program because they're taking some product, they're going to think that you're the best trainer ever. And they're going to tell their friends, and they're going to come to you, and that's going to increase your client base. Now, does that make you successful? Well, in one way it does, but in the other sense, it makes you reach your cap earlier, your salary cap, because you're going to be training a bunch of people, and then you're back to where we were talking about before. Okay, so keep that in mind. So what is AdvoCare, and what can AdvoCare do for me, and what can it do for my business? This is really what we're interested in. AdvoCare is a nutritional company out of Plano, Texas. It was founded in 1993. There's more than 70 products that AdvoCare offers, so pretty much anything you can think of. People today are drinking all kinds of energy drinks, Gatorade type drinks. They're eating power bars and meal replacement shakes and fiber drinks and Metamucil and all these things, and taking vitamins and fish oils. And AdvoCare makes all these types of products. So it's not simply just one or two products. It's not just a couple of performance supplements. It's an entire line of nutritional products. And all these products are backed by 250 plus years of collective experience on our scientific and medical advisory board, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. We have hundreds of world-class professional athletes and Olympic athletic endorsers. And that's really how AdvoCare started, was as a performance supplement company that then expanded its offerings. Now, what AdvoCare does is offer solutions in two main areas, and those are health and finances. Now, if we look at health, most people today, many adults today, are interested in energy, mental focus. Just if you look at the energy drink industry alone, I believe it was a $7 billion industry last year. Weight management, sports performance, overall wellness. The wellness industry is the fastest growing industry in the country right now. So offering AdvoCare as part of your training business is perfect, because you are being inundated. You're being, on a day-to-day basis, you're working with clients who are like-minded. They have health on their mind. And people like taking supplements, let's face it. Now, for finances, as we said, we've already pointed out that if you're a personal trainer, it's very difficult to live the kind of life you want to lead long-term on a personal trainer salary. And having a Plan B income is a very good thing, especially in a down economy. Personal training is the kind of thing that when money is good, people will spend money on it. But when money is bad, it's one of the first things that goes. So if you're relying on that, again, you're in the trading hours for dollars mentality. If you're not training somebody, you're not making any money. And with AdvoCare, we're going to talk about how AdvoCare can make you money whether you're training people or not. AdvoCare can allow you to become debt-free, and in the United States, this is something we don't even consider anymore. We just assume that we're going to die in debt. And the reality is AdvoCare offers you an opportunity to be able to live a debt-free life. It certainly increases the flexibility of your work schedule. It allows you to earn income 5 ways, and you are definitely part of a team. When you work an AdvoCare business, you do not do it by yourself. You have a very extensive nationwide support system, and everybody is very interested in seeing everybody else do very well. There's no competition in AdvoCare. So what do trainers typically concern themselves with? If you've ever spoken to a trainer about AdvoCare, one of the first things they'll do, if you give them a can of muscle gain or post-workout recovery, one of our performance products, the first thing they do is they flip it over and they look at the label. And they want to know what's in it. Personal trainers, many personal trainers, most personal trainers all have very strong opinions about supplements and supplement ingredients. And when people want to know what is in a product, I think what they're really asking is, are these products effective and are these products safe? And how does AdvoCare ensure that that's the case? Well, AdvoCare's products are formulated by the Scientific and Medical Advisory Board. And these are scientists that are the best in their field in pharmacology, physiology, they're medical doctors, they're nutritionists. And how I actually got involved in AdvoCare is AdvoCare contacted me and asked if I would be on the Scientific and Medical Advisory Board. And at the time, I was not really into supplements, but I said yes, I agreed, because this guy up here on the right, William Kramer, he was one of my former professors at Penn State. He's a very good friend of mine, and I respect his opinion very much. And I thought, well, if Kramer's going to be on the board, I guess I could be on the board, and I want to see what it's all about. Now, I found out in meetings on the Scientific Advisory Board that there's a tremendous amount of effort and research that goes into product formulation. And unfortunately, what most people, what most lay people, and what most trainers, where most of them get their information, is often from supplement companies themselves, meaning supplement companies publish things that may or may not be completely true or somewhat misleading. They might read things on bodybuilding.com or some blog, or get something out of some fitness magazine. Very few trainers are out there reading actual research papers on nutritional science. So much of what they hear is driven by marketing and not really driven by evidence-based science. So AdvoCare's products are driven completely by science. And we can't look at product ingredients in a bubble. We can't just turn a can of product over and say, oh, this has soy in it, therefore it's no good. We have to think about ingredients in the context in which they were developed, for the physiological reason that they were developed. Sometimes soy is good, sometimes whey is better, sometimes casein is better, and AdvoCare products are all individually designed with a reasoning, a certain specific reasoning why a given ingredient is any given product. So when I sort of wrapped my head around that I could trust these people to know more about product formulation than I do, then it was pretty easy for me to get on board with AdvoCare. I can promise you that the collective intelligence of these 8 people know far more about nutritional science than your average personal trainer does. So I have no problem trusting that these people know what they're talking about, and I don't think that you should either. So the other thing that I want to talk a little bit about is the Informed Choice Program. The Informed Choice Program is a third-party certification program that tests products to make sure that they're free of banned substances. Now, this box on the left lists all the AdvoCare products. There's 44 in total, I believe 44 if you count all the different flavors that go through the Informed Choice testing certification. And this is an ongoing thing. Every lot that's manufactured, a sample is taken out, sent to HFL labs, and tested for more than 200 banned substances. Informed Choice is the most sensitive testing protocol available, and AdvoCare has more products that go through Informed Choice than any other supplement company in the world. And this is why the Informed Choice program is one of the reasons why we have so many professional and Olympic athletes who use AdvoCare products, because they know that they're not going to be testing positive on any type of drug tests if they use AdvoCare products. Now, as I said, we have plenty of endorsers. Drew Brees is the national spokesperson for AdvoCare. He's been an AdvoCare endorser for many years, a very big fan of the products, and all our endorsers actually use the products. These people, our endorsers, are unpaid. Most companies can't say that. I can't think of any companies that can have endorsers in every locker room in the NFL and do that without any type of compensation. Here's just a few more of our endorsers, and I just want to point a few of these out. This guy in the middle on the left, Mike Bergener. If you're a CrossFit trainer, you've been involved with CrossFit, you know that Bergener is a head coach for CrossFit weightlifting certifications. On the right in the middle is Colt McCoy, quarterback in the NFL. I mentioned Colt because his wife actually just became an AdvoCare distributor about a month ago. The last one I want to talk about is in the middle, Richard Childress Racing. You can see the number 3 car with the big AdvoCare logo on it. AdvoCare has a very good relationship with NASCAR, and you may not be excited about NASCAR, but understand from a business perspective that NASCAR is the #1 spectator sport in the United States. So on the weekends, If this car is going around a track 400 times and people see a big A on it, that's fantastic exposure for your company, for your AdvoCare business. That car is on several commercials on ESPN right now that you may see at any given time. So think about the exposure that AdvoCare is getting with these types of endorsers. AdvoCare will be a household name in the next 2 years. So it's going to blow up. It's going to blow up all around you. So you need to decide whether or not you want to be part of that. Now, one other things that trainers worry about, I don't feel that supplements are necessary. I hear this all the time, and believe me, I was right there with you. I thought the exact same thing. In fact, I taught my students for a decade that they didn't need supplements, that you could pretty much accomplish any fitness goal you wanted to accomplish just with diet and exercise. And, I preached this. And when I originally got involved with AdvoCare, I still sort of felt this, and I felt, well, I need to start taking some AdvoCare products and see if they work, because, I told AdvoCare from the get-go, I wasn't going to go around and extol the virtues of a product that I didn't believe in. I just wasn't going to do it. So they were very understanding of that and said, well, just take some product and tell us how you feel. So essentially what I did, I started taking product, and these are my actual body fat results from my experience with AdvoCare during the first 19 weeks that I took it. So I took some of the AdvoCare weight loss products. I took some of the Performance Elite products. I measured my body fat using a bod pod and a DEXA scan. The last value was with the DEXA scan, so that's the most accurate way of measuring body fat. I dropped 10% body fat in just under 5 months, and that's a 20-pound fat loss and a 9-pound muscle gain. Now keep in mind, I'm 44 years old. I've been resistance training my entire adult life. For somebody my age who's already trained to put on 9 pounds of muscle in 5 months is pretty much unheard of. And I can't explain how that happened other than the fact that it must have been because of the AdvoCare products. I made very small, minor modifications to both my diet and my exercise program, nothing that I hadn't done before, and I never saw these kind of results. So at this point, and I understand that this is only one person, this is just me, but there are thousands of testimonials from AdvoCare users who are very similar to this. So it's true that you probably don't need supplements in order to remain free of illness or to be healthy, but if you want to be at the highest level of performance that you can be, or if you want to be your body composition to be the best that it can be, I do not feel that you can accomplish that without supplements. Not anymore. So other things, I already have to sell training. I don't want to sell my clients supplements. Well, let me tell you, whether you want to sell them supplements or not, and in AdvoCare, we don't really sell things. We share our stories. If I tell somebody that I lost 20 pounds of fat and put on 10 pounds of muscle taking AdvoCare products, I don't really have to say much more in order to sell it. People want it. So all we really do is share our stories. The other thing you have to realize is that the vast majority of your clients are already taking supplements. How many times do your clients walk in the gym drinking a Rockstar or a Monster or a Red Bull, or eating a power bar, drinking a protein shake, or drinking a post-workout recovery, or drinking a Gatorade? All we are doing is offering alternatives to those products. That's all we're doing. And how many times do your clients ask you, what kind of supplements should I take, if any? When should I be taking protein? Before workout, after workout, what? And you tell them. And what do you tell them? Do you tell them, oh, you can take this, take some whey protein, you can get it from GNC? Well, why would you put money in GNC's pocket? Wouldn't your client feel better buying product from somebody they trust as opposed to some high school student working at GNC? So I think it's not safe to make the assumption that your clients don't want to talk about supplements. The vast majority of them are already taking them, and they would appreciate your opinion, your expert opinion, on which supplements you think are the ones that they should be taking. And I think if you take a good hard look at AdvoCare, you'll decide that those are probably the best ones that you can recommend. People say, I'm so busy, I don't have time to sell AdvoCare. And again, I put sell in quotes because you're not. You're sharing a story. And this is why personal trainers are so perfect for AdvoCare, because you have a captive audience. You're training a client. That client is interested in weight loss. They're already interested in fitness. They're interested in improving their health, and they're asking you your opinion on products. So you don't really need any more time. You're put in the perfect situation to discuss AdvoCare at that time. And finally, people say, can I really make money with AdvoCare? And I want to show you the income disclosures from 2011. This is last year's income disclosures. And over on the left-hand side, you see these little colors, silver, gold, 3-star gold, all the way up to double diamond. These are leadership levels in AdvoCare. And this is how you progress through the company. And these are the average incomes that you would make at each one of these given levels, again, as you progress through the company. So if we look at the first leadership level, Silver Pin. Silver Pin averages over $12,000 a year. So that's an extra $1,000 a month. For most people, for most personal trainers, an extra $1,000 a month would absolutely transform their lives, the quality of their lives. And hitting Silver Pin is not difficult to do, especially for a trainer. For a trainer, hitting Silver Pin is relatively easy. To give you an example of how rapidly you could move through AdvoCare, currently, myself, I'm at the 3-star gold level, and I'm probably going to be ruby level in about 3 weeks. So that's ruby level. You can see averages $80,000 a year, and I've only been involved as an AdvoCare distributor for about 9 months. So and I know people who are moving much faster than me. So it's very feasible that you can make a tremendous amount of money in AdvoCare if you work the AdvoCare system and listen to your sponsor. And if you're a trainer, it's even easier, because again, you have that captive audience. You have people that are like-minded and want what AdvoCare has to offer. Now remember, $53,000 is what your average personal trainer is making, right? And if you can hit Ruby in 9 months, $81,000, that's a life changer. There's no question about it. Gold is a life changer. Silver is a life changer for a lot of people. So keep that in mind. Now, a lot of people have questions about the business. AdvoCare is a direct selling company, and a lot of direct selling companies force you to buy a minimum amount of products. So people want to know, do I have to buy a minimum amount of product every month or every week, whatever? No, AdvoCare never forces you to buy a minimum amount of product. Buying power is completely up to you. It's completely in your hands. You buy what you want when you want. Simple as that. Is anything ever automatically sent to me? Nothing is ever automatically sent to you unless you specifically request it. If you know you're going to buy a certain amount of product every month and you want it shipped to you, they will do that, but under no circumstances is that a requirement. So, again, other direct selling companies, they sign you up, they take your credit card information, and they automatically send something to your house. And that does not happen with AdvoCare. Do I have to stock products? You don't ever have to see products if you don't want to see products. When you sign up as a distributor with AdvoCare, you get a website. It's a very functional website. It's very easy to navigate. You simply send your customers to the website. They enter their credit card information, and product gets shipped directly to them. Product never has to pass through your hands, and you never have to have product in your house if you don't want to, other than what you're taking, obviously. Do I have to sell a minimum amount in order to make money? Absolutely not. AdvoCare's commission ranges from 20 to 40%. If you sell $10 worth of product and you're at the 40% level, you're going to get a commission check for $4. It's that simple. Again, other companies make you sell up to a certain threshold before they will release any of your money to you. AdvoCare never does anything like that. So I have to sell a minimum in order to keep my discount. So again, if you're at the 40% commission level, the 40% discount level, do you have to sell a certain amount in order to keep that? No. Once you reach a discount level, you are there for life. You never have to qualify for that again. Again, other companies, you have to sell a certain amount every month or your discount drops. AdvoCare just doesn't work like that. And finally, do I get help? When you sign up as a distributor, you have an AdvoCare sponsor. And your sponsor's job is to make sure that you do well. And sponsors work very, very hard to make sure that their downline distributors do well. As I said before, AdvoCare is a huge network of like-minded people. All are out to help each other. We have a huge network on Facebook. If you run into any problems, I can promise you that within minutes you can find somebody who has experienced that problem before, and they can help you out. So again, we're all in this together, and we all look out for each other and make sure that everyone does well. So let's talk a little bit about your timing. And these are AdvoCare's revenues over the past few years, and what we speculate AdvoCare is going to do by the year 2017. So you can see that years 2013, 15, and 17 are speculative. In 2011, the red bar shows a company revenue of $230 million. And it was speculated that in 2013, AdvoCare would hit $400 million. Now, I can tell you that in this year, 2012, in the first quarter of 2012, we did $100 million in revenue. So assuming we do that $100 million all 4 quarters, we're going to hit that $400 million in 2012. Now in 2017, AdvoCare is projected to be a $1 billion company. I think this is being conservative. In my personal opinion, I think that we're going to hit that billion mark before that. Now, the blue bars represent how much of that revenue comes back to the distributors. For every dollar that AdvoCare earns, 60 cents goes back to the distributor. So we're looking at, by 2017, 5 years from now, you're looking at $600 million coming back to distributors. And the question is, how much of that do you want? Are you going to wait and watch everybody around you making money with AdvoCare, or are you going to get on board now and grab as much of that $600 million as you possibly can? We have a great opportunity here. We have a health crisis and we have a financial crisis. AdvoCare is the fastest growing direct sales company in the U.S. today, and the direct selling model is the fastest growing business model in the U.S. today. So it's an excellent time to be involved in AdvoCare. And again, especially if you're a personal trainer, they just go perfectly together. So the last thing I want to ask is, what's your plan? Ask yourself these 5 questions. What's 2012 going to look like compared to 2011? How much more money are you going to make this year than you did last year? Are you going to make less money this year than you did last year? Again, in a bad economy, personal training takes a hit. I know we have a lot of people on our team who are hurting, who are making much less than they were a few years ago. Are you getting paid today for the work that you performed 5 years ago? Again, with AdvoCare, if you have an AdvoCare user, a product user, who was a former client of yours, once somebody starts using AdvoCare products, they don't want to get off them. They become a lifelong product user, and they may stop paying you for your personal training services, but they're going to continue buying product from you. And think about, if everybody you've ever trained, if half of those people were lifelong product users, AdvoCare product users, how much money would you be making in residual income over the rest of your life? Will you get paid in 2015 for the work you do tomorrow? If you bring on a new client tomorrow and you turn them on to AdvoCare and they start using AdvoCare product, you'll be getting paid years from now for that work. And for personal trainers, again, what does this mean? This means that, let's say you want to go on vacation for 2 weeks. You can do it. You don't have to worry about, I'm not going to be training people, so I'm not going to be getting paid. You'll have this residual income coming in. And if you're not going to do AdvoCare, then what are you going to do? Are you going to be one of those 76% who just stops doing what they love to do because they can't afford to do it anymore? You have to have a plan. Again, personal training is very close to my heart. I have a lot of students, and I want those students to be able to stay in a career that they love to do. And it saddens me to think that because they want to get on with their